What up, what up, what up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about weed, and I'm Chris Roscoe, and I'm going to be talking to you about weed. Because I got this question in my DMs, basically saying, does smoking weed ever get in the way of doing the things you want to do? I think sometimes I use it to procrastinate, but I'm working on finding the things I love doing, so I'll naturally want to do them instead. But I feel more connected and more honest with myself when I smoke before journaling or something like that. I can see the two conflicting parts of myself. One saying never smoke because you don't know when not to, and the other saying I should let myself do it because I really enjoy it. Where do you think I should put my focus? Really good fucking question. Really good fucking question. You know, because I am somebody that does a lot of things that a lot of success-minded people will tell you not to do. I really like video games. I really like anime. I really like smoking weed. Those are just three examples of things that a lot of my contemporaries will tell you not to do, and yet I thoroughly enjoy them, and I do a lot of those things every day. I smoke weed every single day in my life. I play video games almost every day in my life, and I probably do watch anime at least one episode every day in my life. While I'm working out or something like that, it doesn't really bother me. The real thing here is about prioritization. And, you know, I have this quote from Jordan Peterson that I really like, where he was asked, is masturbation bad? And his response was, well, it depends on what else you should be doing. And I kind of take the same attitude with weed, you know, and it's like, is weed bad? It's like, well, it depends on what else you should be doing. And ultimately, when it comes to things like weed or video games or TV or anything that, or phones or anything that could really distract us, ultimately the main question here is, what are you prioritizing over your vision? And why would you prioritize that thing over your vision? Because my antidote for distraction is to create a life that you don't want to be distracted from. My antidote for distraction is to create a life, or at least a vision of one, that is so beautiful and so meaningful and so inspiring to us as an individual that to be distracted from the pursuit of getting there would be a tragedy in and of itself. And so whether it be weed or video games or even doing shadow work can be a big distraction. Watching this video for you might even be a really big distraction because maybe you have other things you need to do, and watching transformational YouTube videos is a way to distract you from doing that. It's very easy to look at some distractions as somehow worse than others. Like weed is, oh no, it's a bad thing because it distracts you. Where it's like, no, a lot of people use their spiritual practice as a distraction from what they need to be doing. It's not really about the thing so much as it is about what is it that you're aiming for, and what unconscious need or unconscious desire or unconscious emotion is coming up to override that which you most desire. You know, the best definition of discipline I've ever heard is knowing the distinction between what you want now and what you want most, and then being able to stick with what you want most and distinguish that from what you want now. And so the real question when it comes to, you know, is weed going to distract you or not, is distract you from what is the most important question. How well have you fleshed out your vision of what you want your life to look like? And then secondly, how unique and authentic is that to you? Is it naturally motivating enough to make you either quit smoking weed if that's genuinely the right thing to do, or to face whatever emotions have you distracted from that thing? Because first of all, you need a vision that is inspiring and authentic enough to make you want to face yourself. It has to say like your desire for this thing has to be stronger than your fear of looking at your blocks. And if you don't have a vision that's stronger than your fear, well, then you need to start developing one, because otherwise the distractions will win, because there's nothing to counterbalance them. There's nothing to have you say, well, if I distract myself from this, well, then I won't get the life that I want. I won't get to become the type of person that I want to become. You need something to counterbalance it. And so if you do have a very clear vision that you're connected to and you reconnect to every day, and it's genuinely, authentically inspiring enough to make you want to ask these hard questions and face what it is that you need to face, then it's really just a matter of what part of you is winning. If I know what it is that I really want to be doing most, and it's real to me and it's true to me, what reason would I have for doing anything other than pursuing it with everything that I have in me? What part of me is out of alignment with that pursuit? That it's using weed or video games or even sex or even transformation or whatever it might be. It's using this as a surrogate way to meet some need, and it's distracting me from that which I really want most. So that's really the big question here, is what do you really want most, and which part of you is out of alignment with getting it? Because we only distract ourselves from emotions. That's really the only thing we ever truly distract ourselves from. The only reason you would ever really genuinely distract yourself from going for what you really want the most is because there's some really uncomfortable emotion that you don't want to have to feel in your pursuit of that thing. So maybe you smoke weed, or maybe you watch YouTube videos, or something a little bit more pleasant that can give you some more immediate gratification or allow you to just not think about it or all that sort of stuff. But you really have to be asking, what feeling do I get to avoid by doing this thing? And then when you look at that, you also kind of want to take a look at, well, fuck, like I'm also avoiding the ability to create the reality that I want. And then what reality will I create automatically and unconsciously if I continue to do that long enough? And if you really answer that question, you'll get kind of a bleak answer that'll kind of scare you and be like, holy fuck, like I'm in control of my life. Like if I don't steer it in the direction of my truest desire, then I will unconsciously steer it in the direction of whatever my shadow picks, and that will be an unpleasant experience. So I hope by now you're getting the point that what I'm really trying to say is that it's not really about weed at all, because people could use anything to distract themselves. It's really about, what are you distracting yourself from and why? That's really the biggest question, because you could have unlimited number of things to distract yourself from if you want to be distracted. But if you don't want to be distracted, then none of these things will distract you. Like I smoke weed when I'm done working for the day, or when I have to go on a podcast that like it's casual and nobody cares if I'm smoking weed. And I only play video games when I'm done for the day, or if I genuinely need a rest day because I push myself too hard or something like that. I play video games when it's appropriate to me, because otherwise it won't feel good. And I smoke weed when it's appropriate to me, because otherwise it won't feel good. And most of the time I smoke weed at the end of my day, because it actually, for me, it brings my emotions up more and allows me to work with them more. It's really interesting, because a lot of times when people smoke weed, they get really paranoid. And to me, that's just a representation of the fact that you're probably paranoid when you're sober, but you smoke weed and it shows you how you already feel. And so I use weed as a tool to show me how I already feel so that I can work with it. And so I do like hours of shadow integration every night, and I use weed as something to help me bring all that stuff up. But it also makes video games more fun. It makes sex feel better. It makes podcasts more fun when I'm doing a podcast with my friends. It makes a lot of things more enjoyable. But you have to have it in its right place and in its right time. And if you're having troubles putting it in its right place, then again, really just figure out what putting it in its right place would be in service of, and what having it out of its right place is costing you. Get really clear on that, and it should help you straighten things out. And at the very least, it'll highlight what keeps you from making the decisions that keep you distracted and not in alignment with the things that you truly desire most. So I hope this was helpful. This is really all I have to say on the topic for now, at least. If you have any other questions about this topic that you'd like me to go into deeper, let me know. Because again, I pull these questions from my DMs, and I want to make sure that I'm answering stuff that y'all actually really care about and you're actually dealing with. So I think the groove I'm getting into is doing one of these a week. So I think I'm going to try and keep that at the bare minimum for now. So let me know what you'd like me to make the next video about, and I will be happy to oblige. I hope you're well. Take care. I love you. See you next time.